everybody. And we're back. Welcome back to yet another episode of Singular, where we, of course, discuss record of the year. Poppin' and lockin' and taking you back to 1980, where collars were popped and socks were stacked and your sneakers better match. Joining you as usual, popping his collar and maybe yours if you're lucky, Mr. Eric Nelson.
So I just got back from a jazzercise class and I feel great. And Susan, I just have to say, you win today. You read my mind. I've been celebrating all day today because it's a very special birthday. And you have behind you some birthday paraphernalia. So let's just say to Inky, Blinky, Clyde, happy birthday 1980. It's when Pac-Man came and was launched and ate all those little magic pellets. So we are here. And can I just say one thing and then I'll just shut my yap. I love that they made a Miss Pac-Man. There was something just better about Miss Pac-Man.
The bow, it was the bow.
Yeah, I was gonna say that red bow.
The bow. I think Lady Gaga was inspired by that bow.
I thought you were gonna say, I'm just gonna say one more thing, and it's where's the beef?
I know what it is.
I think that's a few years later, but I get where you're going.
And keeping us on track with our facts and figures and keeping the spring in your sprung, Reverend Dr. Mr. Vincent Stevens.
Yes, it's an honor to be nominated.
And I'm Susan Lombardi Verticelli. Still keeping it asymmetrical.
That's very 80s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Very good.
Everything is old is new again.
Exactly.
Coming around again.
Dr. Mr. Reverend Vincent Stevens, what do you got for us?
Well, elder sister Susan. So 1980. So it's kind of the beginning of the demise of disco, but it's before MTV. So it's kind of an interesting era. So your top 10. Number 1 song in 1980, Call Me by Blondie. Number 2, Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 by Pink Floyd. Number 3, Magic by Olivia Newton-John. Number 4, Rock With You, Michael Jackson. Number 5, Do That To Me One More Time by The Captain and Tennille. Number 6, Crazy Little Thing Called Love by Queen. Number 7, Coming Up, Paul McCartney. Number 8, Funky Town by Lip Sync. Number 9, It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, Billy Joel. And number 10, The Rose by Bette Midler, which is also going to make another appearance. Something that people should also know is that some of the nominees for this year are actually songs that charted in 1981. So they're songs that were nominated in 80, but they actually sort of had their greatest reign the following year commercially. So it's an interesting mix. So with that, Eric Nelson.
Yeah, and what's it, to build on interesting, because these are always interesting podcasts, but some years we see all 5 of the nominees for Record of the Year in the top 10 songs of the year, and not this year. Sort of grabs from all kinds of different places. So who got nominated? We are going to start. So I'll list the 5 and then we'll kick it off. But Christopher Cross, Sailed In, was a nominee, as was The Rose, which Vincent, you just mentioned, by Bette Midler. Then Lady, Hey Lady, by Kenny Rogers. Theme of New York, New York from Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes. And the last nominee was Woman in Love by Barbra Streisand and the Bee Gees, since they sort of did all the production and writing work on that song. But so let's kick it off and put some wind in our sails and hear what Christopher Cross has to say.
All right. So
yeah.
So Sailing was the number 32 song of 1980 commercially. And Christopher Cross's album, pictured here with the flamingo, was actually preceded by a song called Ride Like the Wind, which peaked at number 2, and Sailing peaked at number 1. So with that said, here is Sailing.
Vincent, you're the fantasy that gets the best of me.
Thank you. Is it like a Mariah Carey fantasy or?
The sweet, sweet fantasy is what it is.
Thank you. Okay, so sailing. So this is where I lose all objectivity. Not that I ever had it to begin with, but when I was growing up, this song was on the radio all the time. Everybody I know, everybody knew this song and everybody loved this song. This is like state-of-the-art easy listening. It's like almost hypnotic and trance-like. And I think some people would say that's probably a liability, but what's amazing to me about this song, it's luscious, it's very easy to listen to, it's a beautiful song. It could be an instrumental, frankly. The fact that the lyrics are about sailing is what's so funny to me. You're like, this is such a beautiful song. You're like, wait, is he talking about like getting on a sailboat and how much he likes to do that? So the lyric is pretty banal. So I will say there are some interesting moments though. Like there are some good little rhymes about every blah, blah, blah is a symphony, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, Christopher. So to me, this recording is about atmosphere. It's about aura. And I have to say, I love listening to it. It comes on and it just makes me feel like I literally get like this warm feeling inside just because it's such a part of like my childhood and it's such a part of growing up. And it's funny, a lot of people sampled this song and a lot of people covered this song. Like I think it was a Grammy Award ceremony once where like NSYNC and a bunch of people like did it together. It's like this song is like such a phenomenon. And again, you're like, this is a song about sailing. But having said that, I love listening to this song. I don't know that I think it's the best record, but it's definitely not the worst record. And there's something about it that there's a piece of nostalgia, there's a piece of my heart that just is always gonna be entranced by this song. So I think it's actually one of the stronger entries in this group. I don't think it breaks any new ground, but it is not a coincidence that it was nominated for not only Record of the Year and Song of the Year and stuff like that, but it also was nominated for one of the arrangement Grammys as well. And I think, again, it's hard to deny it's a beautiful song, even if the subject matter is very banal.
Speaking of hard to deny beauty, Susan, what got your wins? What got the wind into your sails?
Listening to this song and to Vincent's point, like this is the song of our childhood, like everyone's going to sway along to this, but listening to it, I was like, am I at the dentist office? Am I in love? Like what's happening? And I don't even like boating. I don't like going out on water vehicles. And this song made me want to like get my sea legs on and wear cotton and stripes and whatever those like fun boaters wear and their like boat shoes. I don't know, it makes me kind of giggle because I think it's silly, but at the same time, there is like this emotional reaction to it. I will add, with all the covers that have happened about this, and maybe Dr. Stevens can answer this, and the trance-like ability of the song, has Criss Cross ever sampled or covered this song? And maybe put it into like trance hip hop? I'm just putting it out there. Think about it, Criss Cross.
The answer is no. Criss Cross is even more ephemeral than Christopher Cross's career. So I think the answer is obviously no.
They still make me jump.
They want to make me jump.
That's my genes are still backward.
That's all you got.
That's all you got. You know, there is something undeniable about this song. And Vincent, I think the word you use, lush, like it starts in this really lush way and it continues on. So instrumentally, I find this song really pleasing. And let's not forget, like there's a whole like popped up post genre created around this song called yacht rock. Like there's a whole TV show about it. There are playlists. Like this is like yacht rock is named for this song. So like,
Susan, this is new to you? I thought you were hip.
With the yacht community, what is yacht rock?
You've never heard of yacht rock? Okay, yeah. After this, you're gonna find a playlist. It'll be all the songs
everywhere. And there's like a parody TV show about living in the world of yacht rock. Think, Michael Mcdonald, Kenny Loggins.
Key Largo, remember that song? Key Largo? Just like Bogey and Bacall?
That would this is the era of yacht. There's like a 5-year era of yacht rock, and that's Hall and Oates all fall into yacht rock. there's very little diversity in the world of yacht rock, but it's a very, it does not require a lot of you as a listener to listen to yacht rock. But so that being said, like many of these songs that are in that category, they start to wear out their welcome for me by sort of 3/4 in, because as lush as it is, and maybe I kind of maybe want this just to be an instrumental. I don't think I need the lyrics to this song. My husband thought the lyric was Candace can do miracles, so I want to know who Candace is.
What is it? What's
the
Canvas.
The Candace can do miracles. But
You're like, hey, Candace.
Hey, Candace, what is she all about? He thought it was a love song about this woman, Candace. So I don't know.
Is it like canvas hides a multitude of sins kind of thing?
No, it's the sail is made of canvas. Have you never seen a sailboat? Also,
a canvas in a sailboat could also hide a multitude of sins.
Also, I will say, I learned on Insta, Christopher Cross got COVID last year, but he's recovered. And Christopher Cross also was a supporter of Black Lives Matter. So there you go, Christopher Cross. Just saying.
You have to, the one you mentioned, his other song that hit #2, Rope in the Wind, Ride in the Wind.
Ride Like the Wind. Mm-hmm.
I love that song. I wish that song was nominated.
It's a fun song, and guess who sings background?
Michael McDonald.
Michael McDonald. Michael McDonald. You know, there's a segment, I think we talked about this. There's a segment at SCTV where Rick Moranis shows you Michael McDonald's in the studio, and he like sings like 4 different songs backgrounds. I'm like, Michael's in demand, period.
He's very versatile. I think this song, in addition to being the template for yacht rock, is the template for movies scored by Dave Grusin between 1980 and like 1985. There's so many songs or movie scores that sound exactly the same. They all kind of pull on this, the musical notes in this. So, you know, it's for what it is. And I'll say one other thing and then we can move on. I appreciate this song because, you know, 1980, or take any year that ends in a 0, like that era can still sound like the decade before, but this song sounds new and like different. This sounds like what the 80s would sound like, not everything, but a lot of it. And it does not sound like a 70s song, which I appreciate about what it does. So it moves things forward musically.
So I decided just on the spot that I think we should have like one word for each song after we've listened to everybody speak. So I put iconic.
This is iconic. Iconic. Done. Okay, so who's next is someone we talked about a few weeks ago who actually walked away with this award. Maybe she'll do it again today. Midler, so she won for Wind Beneath My Wings. And this was, you know, a few years earlier. And her movie debut, which also got her an Oscar nomination for the song, The Rose. So Vincent, do you mind?
I don't mind.
Thank you.
When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that love is only for the lucky and the strong, just remember.
In the winter, Vincent becomes the rose, or in the summer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So one of the things, there's so many things to say here. So, you know, I think Bette Midler came onto everyone's consciousness in the early 70s with her first album, which has like her version of Do You Want to Dance, which is very sensual, her version of Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy, which is like hysterical intentionally, and then Friends, which is a beautiful ballad. So we know that she can deliver a ballad. And even though people associate Superstar with Karen Carpenter and the Carpenters, Bette Midler was actually one of the first people to sing. And in fact, Richard Carpenter watched her sing it on the Johnny Carson show, on the Tonight Show, and then said, oh, that would be a great song for Karen. Though he did take out the lyric about someone sleeping with someone, even though that's what the whole song is about, but that's a different conversation. So we know Bette Midler could deliver a ballad, but I feel like of all of her ballads, like I feel like just thinking about the character she plays in The Rose, there's just something very poignant about all of it. So this song was written by Amanda McBroom. And what's fascinating about this song is that it's a rare pop song where the hook is completely buried. Like you hear the title is The Rose and you think, oh, when is she gonna say The Rose? And then it's not until the very line. And that's what's brilliant about this song. It's got this piano arrangement and it builds and it builds and it builds. But unlike, let's say, your average Diane Warren song, it's not this like formulaic, like verse, chorus, ridiculous bridge, and then quiet outro. It just like there's more harmony comes into play. It becomes more intense. Like the moment I chose is a moment where I feel like the lyric just gets at the heart of it, where it's like we have this really narrow idea about who gets to be loved and what love means, and you're like, damn, like it's like devastating. And then it just kind of ends, becomes the rose. I think the lyrics are really artful. Her singing is impassioned. The harmonizing is precise without being that kind of mechanical, like almost bland Manhattan Transfer type thing where it's just too much. Yeah, I just think this song really, I don't know. I think everything about it just works. I think it's a really special song. And I think that, it's so much better than The Wind Beneath My Wings, like in terms of what it, not just what it is, but what it requires of the listener. Because I think you can hear this song on the radio and just say, oh yeah, that's a nice little piano ballad in the background. But I think when you really listen, you're like, wow, this song is actually saying something. And the thing that actually solidified how great this song is not only Bette Midler's performance, but Nat King Cole's younger brother, Freddie Cole, who I've seen several times in person, both in Pennsylvania and at Birdland, was an excellent interpreter. He died last year. I think he was 80 or 81, but he has a recording of this song, and he does it as a jazz artist, but not like shooby-dooby-doo-wop. He almost like slows it down. He almost sings it, and you're listening, and the way he builds it, you're like, oh my God, it's completely different than Bette Midler, but it totally works. So I just think the song, the performance, the arrangement are aces. I have nothing bad to say about this.
Speaking of aces, nothing bad to say about anybody. And also a divine miss, somebody. Susan.
This is all I'm going to say about the song. Well, I will preface it with, dear listener, you may remember that for the years that I don't know who the winner is, recently I've been not finding out who the winner is, so that my surprise and spontaneity can be shared along with you, dear listener. So this is all I will say about this song. If this song doesn't win, I will burn every sports bar to the ground.
Done. So maybe we should go to a sports bar right now just to ensure we have a chance to soak up some sports bar. Who knows?
Wings and things.
Wings and things, right? Oh my God. It's Vincent. I just want to build on that part that you're saying, just about how this song was written. Like, to your point, there's no chorus to this song. There's no, like, there are these things in pop songs that do work for the listener as well as do work for the singer. And I think it speaks, so highly of Bette Midler's capacity and capabilities that she gets everything across without having those tools that pop songs typically have, that like, repetition brings you in, or, certain turns of phrases. And this song doesn't do that. That's not a bad thing about that song, but what it means is it's almost harder, I think, for someone to sing, and she pulls it off. It's like an art song. Like, this is a pop art song, not a pop, earworm kind of song. And it's just so lovely. And the way she modulates it and builds, and I'm going to do a spoiler. I'm not going to say who won this category, but she won the pop vocal female category for this song, and so deserved it because of the work and the way she, as a singer and a craftsperson, is able to get the emotion across. I mean, it's so well written anyway, but she doesn't push too hard. She just somehow finds the groove, no pun intended, and just makes it work. And it's an unlikely on paper pop song to be as successful as it was, and she just makes it all work. I love it. It's a great song. Artful. Yeah, that's our word. Artful. Okay, so next up, counterpoint perhaps, is Kenny Rogers with a Lionel Richie penned song called Lady.
Lady, I'm your knight in shining armor, and I love you. You have made me what I am, and I am yours. My love. There's so
Vincent, whose sixth grade poetry book do you think this song came out of?
Oh, I would say it's more third grade. There are three things I don't like about this song and one thing I do. The three things I don't like about the song: the lyrics, the arrangement, and the singer. The one thing I like is when it ends. So from the very beginning, the lyrics are totally cliched. It's like a male version of what a woman wants. Most women that I know who like are intimate with men want a partner. They want somebody who's like an adult partner who like shares in responsibility. They don't want a knight in shining armor. So I found from the very beginning, I think it's like a cliche, and it's also followed by a non sequitur. Like, I'm your knight in shining armor. Oh, and I love you. Oh, okay, how do those things connect? Is it like the 18th century? Are we in feudalism? So from the beginning, I just think the lyric is dumb. The problem is a dumb lyric can sometimes survive a great melody or great performance. So this is also where the song fails. So Kenny Rogers was on a hot streak since the mid 70s. There was Lucille, there's The Gambler, all these songs that are hits. The problem with this song is that he makes no effort. So some people would say, oh, Kenny Rogers has rasp. I'm like, he has vocal fry. He sounds like he woke up in the morning and just walked into the studio. And that is not a compliment. It's such a low energy performance. There's no color, there's no texture. It's just all one thing, which gets to the problem of the arrangement. This song never builds. It's a completely flat song. No amount of orchestration, even when he attempts to modulate with his very limited range, it just doesn't go anywhere. So it's just this like slow moving thing that you just want to end. And the thing is, this song was #1 for 6 weeks. People love it. Like his greatest hits album, this was the lead single. His greatest hits album was a #1. It became a best-selling album in 1980 because of the song. And so I think Lionel Richie kind of specialized in these kind of frankly kind of boring ballads. I think he sort of kicked it off with 3 Times a Lady and songs like that, and still, which I think are better than this. And then he did Endless Love, which I don't think is significantly better or worse. But it's not until he does like Truly or Hello that he really reaches the right formula. I can enjoy those songs, their earnestness, but this song, it does nothing for me. I think it's totally flat, totally boring. I think it's only here because Kenny Rogers was on a hot streak. Because remember, the year before he was nominated for The Gambler. But I think it's so boring and so uninspiring, and that's all I have to say about that.
Vincent knows when to fold them. We'll just say that. Susan, lady.
I don't mind.
I don't mind. I love you.
I don't mind.
I don't mind.
I think I'm on the like short and sweet. This is what I wrote in my notes about this song, and I will be done. I feel like this is a song they would put on at the end of the night at a frat party when they were trying to rape you, but make it seem like love. Done.
Okay.
This song is so sketchy to me. I feel like I don't want you to play that song, please. Yeah, I do like Kenny Rogers' voice. I don't think he has vocal fry. I don't think he's doing any harm, but I understand what you mean.
Does anyone want to be referred to as lady? Like, why isn't this song called ma'am? Is that a word that is it turn on or a come on? Like, why in the late 70s, early 80s, where there were a bunch of songs called lady? Like, I feel all these fall into that like man owns woman category. Like, you're my property, I will save you. Like, all of these things are just so weird. And the fact that they resonated and was #1 for that long, but like, who on earth like is longing for someone to like, if they could say any term of endearment, to call them lady? Hey, lady.
It's as if like the women were calling the man Mr. Hey, Mr.
Yeah. Like, it's so latched
Sir.
Or like, I don't know you. I don't know you at all. So I'm going to use this really vague general term to try to get your attention. But yet I'm going to save you because I'm a man and I can do that. Like, it's very, like, all of this song just does not sit well with me. So yeah, I'm seeing if I wrote anything else down about that except for, or why not call it person? Just person. Like,
Person.
it's so anonymous and it's so vague. Like, ugh, I'm done. I'm done with this song.
Yeah, I'd rather just listen to Brick House. Can we just put that on? Lionel
Yeah.
Richie also wrote that.
That's an amazing song.
Period.
Shake it down, down.
Lady to be your, what, like, ugh. Anyway, okay. So let's get into show tune world. A little,
Blah, 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 da, da.
All right, we ready for the Sinatra wallop? All right.
Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York. These vagabond blues are longing to stray right through the very
part of it.
New York,
New York.
New York.
and so what do you think of this subtle take on?
Yeah, so this song was written for the film New York, New York, which featured Liza Minnelli and Robert De Niro. And it's funny, it's hearsay to say this. And there's a show called Difficult People with Billy Eichner and Julie, I can't think of her name, Klausner. Well, somebody can look it up, but it's a show that's on Hulu. It's really, really, really funny. And there's an episode where Julie pretends to be Italian. And she's hanging out with a group of girls who are very New Jersey Italian. And so one of the things that sort of breaks her cover is that she comments that Liza Minnelli's version is better. And they're like, what? And they throw her out. So I will say I actually think Liza Minnelli is not Frank Sinatra, but I think that her version is actually, thank you. Liza Minnelli's version, I think, is actually the definitive version of this song, even if Frank Sinatra's version is more well known. So Frank Sinatra's a titan. During the big band era with Tommy Dorsey, he sort of set the standard. When he became a solo crooner, he set the standard. Amazing phrasing, great interpretive lyrics, bigger than life persona, instantly recognizable voice. I mean, he's a major American figure. Everybody has done a tribute album to him. Lou Rawls, Tony Bennett, Trisha Yearwood, Barry Manilow. Point being, he's amazing. But what happened with him in the late 60s, like a lot of performers, is that he started to become increasingly relevant. So he would cover songs like Mrs. Robinson that he obviously didn't understand and had contempt for. You should hear his version of Mrs. Robinson. He throws in some ad libs that just are killer. He's so resented that that's what he needed to do to be commercial. But that's part of the problem. Instead of going out with dignity,
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you want me to seduce you? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah. So what he did at the end of the 60s is he retired. But then he didn't know what to do with himself. So then he came back. He had all these comebacks. So he do these concerts and he didn't sound as good. And a lot of the material was different. I just think he's somebody who he needed to be in the limelight. He needed to be in the spotlight. It was hard for him to not be in the mainstream. So he recorded this album called The Trilogy. And it's a three LP album. So one side has older songs like It Had to Be You and More Than You Know, which he never sang before, which was surprising, which is excellent. Part 2 were more contemporary songs, including Song Sung Blue by Neil Diamond, Just the Way You Are, Billy Joel, etc. And then the third suite was this suite called The Future that had all of these songs with no melody, nothing catchy about them, and terrible lyrics. And he was sort of mocked openly. In fact, Jonathan Schwartz, who used to do that show on WNEW, trashed it. And actually, Frank Sinatra called in and got him, he got suspended from WNEW for several weeks because you don't touch Sinatra. Now, Jonathan Schwartz also was deposed from his post for sexual harassment a few years ago. So that's another conversation. So here's my point. This song is sort of the lead single of the trilogy album. It's kind of Frank Sinatra's last big pop moment. It's an iconic song. I think it's very enjoyable. It's fun. I know that some of the New York sports teams adapted it. Like, it's such an iconic song. What I would say, though, is that when I compare this to some of his greatest songs, it's like a second tier. So the problem is, if this was Frank Sinatra's first record ever, to be like, or this was one of his, if it was like he didn't have this whole formidable career beforehand, it'd be like, oh, wow. But I think it's fine. But I don't think it tells me anything about Frank Sinatra that I don't already know. I think it has a nice build. I enjoy it. I think that there are some songs in this group that are a little bit more contemporary, that are a little bit more interesting. So it doesn't break any new ground, but it's enjoyable. And I'm glad that, he sort of had this last hurrah. This was his last big nomination. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Done. Susan, are you wearing your vagabond shoes today?
Am I wearing my what?
Your vagabond shoes.
Oh, my vagabond shoes, yes. I will say, speaking of vagabond shoes, I didn't realize that my microphone was not muted when you were playing and I was singing along. So, dear listener, I apologize for that. I will say, and I want to make sure that I'm really upfront about this, that it is in my Italian-American contract to say that I love this song. I would be beaten with a bag of oranges if I declared otherwise. But I think this song is so much fun. I'm not sure what you do with it other than a kick line. Like, you can like bring in the, I don't know, like the ballroom dancing. We're all going to sing along to it. I think Old Blue Eyes sounds great. Yeah, I think isn't there a great Saturday Night Live skit when he brought out the duets album about him like just bringing in people and he was like, great take, okay, go. He's like, oh, a one take wonder, but maybe not.
Well, and Sting plays Billy Idol and he's like, kid, I got stool older than you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is a fun song. But yeah, I'm not sure where it goes. Other than like the ballparks love it, right? Closing time at bars is great. You probably played at Italian American weddings across this great nation.
Done. I wish that Liza could have been nominated with him because I love her version. Like, he gets the big bandness of it, and she gets the theatricality of it. Like, if you listen to her, she understands the words and she like plays with them, where he kind of delivers everything at this big honk, which is fine. I mean, it's how his orchestration is for it, but there's something really special, I think, about her version of it. So listeners, if you haven't ever heard the Liza version, go out and take it in. It's really great. I feel very close to this song because of someone on this call who, Susan, do you remember this? So I was moving, this was many years ago, from Boston to New York, and I was listening to the radio, and I was actually going through a toll booth into the state of New York. And there was a contest on the radio to call in and sing the most popular karaoke song. So I'm driving, I'm making this big move, and they say, we have a winner. And this voice comes on singing this song. So not only is it the most popular at that time karaoke song, but someone on this call, Susan Lombardi-Verticelli, was the winner on that call-in show and sang New York to New York over the airwaves. And it was like, the world was all perfect and as it should be. So thank you, Susan, for that. I will never stop loving you, and I'll never not associate you with this song because of that and other reasons. But
I love it.
So Italian, let's just say that's the word for this song, Italian. Okay, so we have one more nominee, another titan of the music industry, Barbra Streisand, as Vincent mentioned earlier. Woman in Love is our fifth nominee.
All right, so this is Barbra singing under the production and arrangement of the Gibb brothers and Abby Galutin. Don't forget Abby Galutin or Albie Galutin. And this is from her massively popular album, Guilty.
I stumble and fall, but I give you it all. I am open in love, and to get you into my world and hold you within. It's a right I defend over and over again. What do I do?
Vincent, you're right. I would defend over and over.
Oh, well, it is a contractual obligation that I love Barbra, and I do. I think Guilty is kind of Barbra's last sort of mainstream pop hit album where she's like churning out the singles. So I feel like this is really when she's sort of in the mainstream, not just in terms of albums, but in terms of what's on the radio. And Guilty is a hit machine album. If you've ever listened to it, it's highly listenable. It's like post-disco. It's like a little mix of disco and easy listening. And it just somehow works, like from start to finish. It's a very coherent, very listenable thing. Now, the Bee Gees are not exactly known for lyrical insight. So the lyrics of this song are ridiculous. Like if I were to just quote passages randomly, you'd be like, what? But I don't think that the song is really about that. I think the song is really about giving Barbra an opportunity to belt and to soar. I mean, I think the song, it's very silken. It's got like this like revving guitar sound. It's very plush. I mean, it's all about texture. It's all about atmosphere. It's kind of this beautiful oral balloon. And so I love the fact that this was maybe, I don't know if this was her last #1 hit, it may have been, but it was a huge hit. And again, this is one of those songs that was just on the radio all the time. And it just entranced you. And it was just so beautiful and so big. Again, I think the lyrics are kind of silly. I don't know that the lyrics of this are actually any worse than Sailing. But I think like Sailing, it's just very enjoyable to listen to because it's like Barbra at her like peak powers in the pop world. I think after this, she made the soundtrack to Yentl, and then she made a very indifferent pop album called Emotion that even she's kind of like whatever. And then she did the Broadway album, which is glorious. So I feel like this is sort of her last big pop moment. So I'm happy that Barbra made it into this list. I think this song represents a different sort of side of the Bee Gees sound. And I think it works. So good on you, Barbra.
I love that one of the lyrics is truth is never a lie. Okay, was that up for debate? Maybe it was. So speaking of debate, and someone who's actually debated all across Europe, Susan. So.
Vincent, I think you should host a weekly show that's called like, is it a Streisand lyric or is it a greeting card? And you just like give out like quote, and people have to like weigh in, right? Like, is it a Streisand lyric? Is it a greeting card? I also think the amazing thing, like when Barbra sings it, we're like, we don't care if it's a greeting card. Like, it's just so magical. And to your point, Vincent, about this album and childhood, I feel like I can feel the actual album, like, and I can see the cover. This and the album First Night by Jane Oliver, I feel like those were like my rotation childhood albums. Yeah, I just wrote my notes.
So what you're saying based on that Jane Oliver and Barbra Streisand reference is that you're a gay man.
Number one, I'm a gay man. This is the time.
Every episode.
What did you say, Eric?
I said it gets reinforced every episode.
Right. Every time we're like, oh yeah, she is. Yeah. That these are also two albums, probably every woman that got divorced in the 70s and early 80s hat tip to my parents. These were somewhere on the living room floor being thrown on in rage and sorrow. Don't forget, ladies, get credit cards in your own names. I like, damn, Barbra, like, how does she do it? I also like, I imagine like 4-year-old Barbra is like belting out in the kitchen and no one can believe that this child has this tool. I don't know what her training is. I just feel like this is just, yeah, like this is just her. She's always been able to do this. And you don't care. You don't care what she's singing. You don't care how ridiculous her nails are. You don't care. It's amazing. Like that, it's a right I defend. And you're like, yes, you were there with her. So I don't want to tip my hat too much, given my comment about the rose, but there's possible that I might not burn things to the ground if this song won.
There you go.
I feel a lot safer knowing that.
Yeah, Barbra saves buildings and bars, so it's good.
I am a woman in love.
It's funny, even if there are ridiculous or silly lyrics in this, they're all though, and even though they were written by the Bee Gees, like this is written from the point of view of an adult having an adult relationship, stating adult needs and wants, and like we rarely get that. I mean, let's comparing it to Lady and the ridiculous sort of grade school poetry. Like the right I defend part is so amazing. I love that. Like I love like let's own our maturity and that adult relationships act in a very different way, and it's just fabulous. The one criticism I have of the song, because I really so enjoy it, is the Bee Gees also wrote that song Grease. It wasn't in the musical, the stage musical, but it's in the movie, the title song Grease. They wrote that. I wonder, were they in the studio the same day that Hopelessly Devoted to You was recorded? Because this opening guitar riff of this song is taken exactly from Hopelessly Devoted to You. And then they use it again in Dionne Warwick's Heartbreaker. Like that same, like exact little guitar riff, they recycle, because they did the same thing with her. Like Arista was said, I think, like, Dionne, we're gonna pair you with the Bee Gees. You're gonna do this album that worked for Barbra. Why don't it work for you? Or it shouldn't, or it should. Let's just make that happen. So I just wish it had that, which actually works. I like the sonic element of it, but I wish it wasn't in this song because it was just sort of lifted and airdropped into the song. Other than that though, like she gets it across, her vocals are great. I love a song from a mature point of view. I love that it's different. And it's not really a song of the 70s. It doesn't exactly sound like the 70s, and it doesn't exactly sound like the 80s, but we have this moment in time where there's sort of like a relay race between the two eras. And I think this song fits perfectly in that moment. So, Bette. This song is like Bette. So great. So those are our 5 nominees. Who else should have been in this list? So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we will rank our top 5. And then we'll look at who we think walked away with the Golden Gramophone. So Vincent, who else should have joined the party?
Well, I think there were some very viable options. Rock With You by Michael Jackson would have been one. Shining Star by the Manhattans, which actually did win the R&B group Grammy. It's a wonderful song. Biggest Part of Me by Ambrosia, gorgeous song. You've heard it a million times, listen to it again, the arrangement. It was also nominated for Arrangement Awards, brilliant. On the Radio by Donna Summer, which was in the female pop vocal category, brilliant. I think, why not Give Me the Night by George Benson? And George Benson cleaned up that night. He won like 3 or 4 Grammys. So he walked home pretty with his hands full, but that's a great little, like a good song for like, put it on those roller skates, This is also the year that the Pretenders break through with Brass in Pocket. Brilliant, wonderful classic. And I would say also, like, I don't know if these kind of songs typically get nominated, but like Call Me by Blondie from American Gigolo is a classic. And actually, even though Crazy Little Thing Called Love is just a neo rockabilly song, it's a very good neo rockabilly song. So I think that there are a lot of different options. So to your earlier point about this list of songs is middle of the road music. Like it is definitely that. So there's really nothing really that's rocking. There's nothing that's bringing that element. So I think that there are lots of different options available to the Grammy folks. So those are my alternate nominees.
Susan, what would you sprinkle into the list?
I don't think I have too much to add. So much of what Vincent said, I wrote down too. but I think we find these years that are like, we've talked about before, like clinging to the old and not welcoming in the new. And I think that's what, like, why we're missing Rock With You. I mean, that song is so fantastic. And I like Call Me as well. Like people are still gonna bop along to that one. Did I just say bop?
It's a good bop.
It's a good bop. It slaps. What were we saying?
Slap. That
It
song
slaps.
slap.
And also I'm not like a huge Pink Floyd fan. But the people love Another Brick in the Wall. And I saw that was like,
Teacher, leave those kids alone.
right.
Of course, the people also love Lady. They made it #1 for 6 weeks. Creepy. I'm your knight in shining armor, and I'll touch you inappropriately.
Gentlemen.
You could be anybody, but I own you.
Credit cards, ladies, in your own names.
So many of mine are, you've already said, so this is my list. Rock With You, Brass in Pocket, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Call Me. One of my favorite songs or medleys of all time, The Spinners. I don't know if this would have gotten into the category, but I love Working My Way Back to You.
So good.
Like so good. Like you can listen to that song every day of the week.
Exactly.
Love it. I don't know if it would have been would have qualified because of the weird date ranges, but where's Diana Ross and Upside Down? Oh, your turn.
Oh, I think that did qualify.
It did like that. Why wouldn't she never gets a Grammy?
She's never won a Grammy competitively.
Oh, so that's
I
a
think
great
people
song.
don't. I think people don't like her. I think she's considered to be a little bit
Yeah.
kind of a diva, kind of a jerk. I don't know.
I love Upside Down. I think it's such a fun song.
It's
Amazing
so fun.
song. She's probably earned being a diva.
Oh, I'm not. Hey, honey, it's Miss Ross to you. Period.
Fame. Where's Fame? Where's Irene Cara in this? I love that song. And I put both Dim All the Lights and On the Radio because any of those from, Donna Summer could have gotten into this list. And my last one is, and I think it's a cover, but I love it anyway, is Linda Ronstadt's version of Hurt So Bad.
Oh yeah, by Anthony and the Imperials. Yeah.
She does a great job with that, I think.
It hurts so bad to see you again.
That burn in so nicely. So what's our top 5? Vincent, how do you rank these nominees?
All right. #1, The Rose. #2, Sailing. #3, Woman in Love. #4, New York, New York. And #5, Lady.
Done. Susan, count them down. And you can go any order from top to bottom or bottom to top. Upside down, you're turning it.
You're giving up. #5, Lady. #4, Sailing. Where am I? Number
3.
3. I count good. #3, New York, New York.
Uh-oh. The Italians are gonna.
I know. I have to tell you, honestly, I thought about doing it differently just to keep my card.
They're watching you.
This could go south real fast. I'll say something else that I just ate salami and cheese before I got on this call. So, that might help out a little bit. #2 is Woman in Love, and #1 is The Rose.
Okay.
There we
So
go.
my #5, Creepy Lady is fitting in there. 4, New York, New York. 3, Sailing. So the ladies are battling it out for the top spot. So who will it be? 2 is Woman in Love. And I, like Susan, I'm going to pick The Rose as I just think that's such a beautiful.
I also chose The Rose as #1.
Oh, you did too. Yes.
Yeah. So The Rose is our winner,
The Rose
followed
is-
by Woman in Love, Christopher Cross, Sinatra, and Kenny Rogers.
So who won? What took home the award this year? Susan,
I have the
you have the envelope. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I do. You're that way, right? I just want to make sure, give it to the right person.
Yeah, that's right. Let's try that again. So, please. Okay, so
Just remember, sports bars across America.
now order your wings now.
Get your last order cheese fries.
I know. Nachos. The Grammy for Record of the Year from 1980, given out in 1981, is. She's going to be happy about that. And I mean Candace. This can do miracles. So Christopher Cross sailed. He actually cleaned up. He won like everything. He won Best New Artist. He won Song of the Year. He won Record of the Year. He won Album of the Year.
And the Arrangement Award.
And the Arrangement Award. So
The first person to ever win those 4, excluding arrangement, in one night. Record, song, album, and new.
America, I hope you're ready.
yeah.
I
And
hope
then
you're.
And then the following year, he won an Oscar for Arthur's theme. Arthur, he does as he pleases. That's all I'm saying to you.
Throw in the name Arthur.
Yeah. Take these 3 songs together. Make them one.
But, and I'm sure Ed knows this, Barbara won a Grammy for the duet Guilty with Barry Gibb. And Bette Midler won for The Rose. So some of these nominees, Sinatra and Rogers didn't win anything. And actually, I was looking at the Grammy book by Tom O'Neill from 1998, which is
Oh, I have that book.
It's out of print. It's very hard to find, but I have my copy, though the cover is long fallen off. Apparently, the music press was expecting Sinatra and Streisand to clean up. So when Christopher Cross won, they're like, wait, who? So I think the interpretation is that punk music and a lot of harder music styles were emerging in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I do think that some people saw Christopher Cross's victory as a kind of like, we're gonna sort of reward the most kind of a younger person who's making very traditional music that's not so confrontational, that fits very comfortably with like middle of the road singer-songwriter stuff. So I think that that's partially why, like he got like a standing ovation for winning like one of the awards apparently.
Wow.
And I mean, I like Christopher Cross and I have his first album and I like him, but I don't know that it's like standing ovation music. So I think there was something else going on in the industry at that time. So who knows?
Well,
Mediocrity.
Yeah.
There's
Well,
that.
Kenny Loggins wins like the pop male vocal category that year. So
Which doesn't make sense, right?
but it makes no sense.
They always do that. Like a person doesn't get nominated for a big award, but they get nominated in a small category. And then like that happened to Taylor Swift this year. She won Album of the Year for a second time, but didn't win any of the smaller categories that she was nominated in.
Even when the pop album or whatever the lead up one would be, it doesn't make any sense.
Rando.
Oh, no.
Well, America, I'm just saying you better secure a spot at your local cabaret club and drag bar because sports bars are done.
Uh-oh. What's that place called that has, is it like, doesn't it have numbers in it like 848 or 43? Isn't there like a wings place that has like numbers in the title? Not the Crowd. Okay, you all are not the
The
Crowd.
appeal of wings escapes me. I don't really understand.
I love wings.
To eat a very little bit of meat on a bone.
I love wings.
Well, I know you love a bone.
That's what she said.
Also, there's only a select crowd of people that I will eat wings in front of. Like, I just won't go anywhere and eat wings, number one. And number two, there's a select crew of people that I will eat wings in front of because I want to enjoy them.
Yeah.
Is it not just all about the breading? Is that
Oh no. I mean, like if like a good wing is gonna be like good meat too.
really? I don't
Yeah.
believe
I don't eat mangoes in front of people because like I had one yesterday and I was like, if people saw what I was doing to this, I'd be arrested. Because when it's that good, that's just the way it goes.
What do you not eat in front of people, Eric?
I think
yeah.
you know.
Well, on that note,
You can eat all you want and you can't get fat. You go for a meal like that. To quote a Mcdonald, you're right.
oh, on that note, dear listener, making sure you know all about us. This has been yet another episode of Singular, where we, of course, discuss Record of the Year. Don't forget to click like and subscribe down below. And don't forget to ring that bell for all those notifications and help us up our numbers on YouTube. Come on, America. From Reverend Dr. Mr. Vincent Stevens, Eric Nelson, and myself, it has been a pleasure popping our collars and spending yet another grammatical, that would not be what the Grammys are, grammarific year, 1980 with you all. And just remember, dear listener, it's just
An honor
an honor
More than
to
that.
be or
Me
not to be.
To be
to
nominated.
be nominated.
Nominated. Yes.
Got it.
Exactly.
Ciao.
Ciao.